Well, here we go. Welcome to Conversations, where today we have Victoria Odekomaya, who is the founder and CEO of Limbs Studios, a full-service creative marketing agency and 3,000 square foot content studio based in Indianapolis, and I'm assuming that's Indiana.
Yes.
Okay. Known for her content to client system, she helps service-based businesses and mission-driven leaders turn visibility into measurable results. After a 17-year corporate career, Victoria stepped out in faith to build a company that now empowers others to share their stories with excellence and impact. Through her work with organizations, entrepreneurs, and media platforms like Boss Ladies Magazine and the Own Your Brand Show, she's helping leaders build brands that attract, convert, and leave a lasting legacy. Welcome to the show, Victoria. How are you today?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is an absolute honor for me. Thank you.
You are welcome. I'm so happy to be here with you and really to have you unpack some of these areas that we're going to be talking about. And the first is, we think about self-promotion, right? And so many times leaders don't want to, they're struggling with really putting themselves out there and balancing their calling as well as that marketing piece. So how can they approach this visibility without feeling like they're self-promoting themselves?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because I totally understand and I see it every single day. A lot of us, we feel like we are promoting ourselves, but the truth is that we are giving other people the opportunity to tap into the talent, the resources, the gifts that God has placed into us. And when we start thinking of it that way, then it's no longer self-promotion. I often like to give the example where when Jesus was coming, you know, we've been hearing about him over and over from like the Old Testament. It was paramount that there was steps. I mean, there were talks about the coming Messiah, because it was needed for everyone to know about it so we can have that salvation, right? So it's no, we are we're not doing anything different from what the Creator has shown us. So the moment we take the focus off of us and start thinking of it as helping to serve others, helping to solve their problems so that they can in turn help to solve other people's problems, then promotion is no longer a self-glorifying thing.
That's a great way of thinking of it. And it's a total mind shift, I think, for some people when they hear you saying that. And it reminds me, as you were talking, I think it's in Colossians how we are to work as if we were working to honor the Lord or something like that. And that aligns with that. So if we take the focus off of us and say we're here to be in service of, right? So that I love that answer and how you are able to, connect that to your faith.
Yes, yes. I mean, I really feel like I am doing exactly what Jesus even did. He said, go out and tell the world, right? This is our job to tell the world of the good news. So the good news is the salvation that we have, but it's also through our actions is where people see that. So us using our gifts brings glory to God, and people begin to ask the question like, "Oh wow, she can do this or she can do that," or they want to learn more. They become inquisitive, right? And that eventually points to God. But by us using our gifts, I mean, remember the story about the parable of the talents. I mean, the parable of the talents, right? Like the one that went to bury it got nothing. So we are encouraged to use our talents to help others. And the truth is that if we're not helping other people, it's going to be a very sad world. Like people are going to be stuck in whatever problems that they're having. There's no solution, because we're not using our impact, So I feel like when we start thinking of it as I am able to solve one or two or three people's problems, and using my gift to solve that problem, I mean, it makes it completely easy.
Yes. And totally different way of thinking about it. Absolutely. And then that leads me to like connecting with our audience. So, what does it look like for a purpose driven business, right? Because you even talk about that the mission driven leaders and purpose driven. So, what does it look like for a purpose driven business or ministry to really turn content into real connection for their customers, their clients?
Right. So, I mean, it's no news now. Content is really the one number one way where we share information and connect with people. And so it's really important that we tap into that. This is the time in this age where this is what we're using to connect with people. People understand they can see better what you do, the transformation that you actually provide by showing them, by speaking of it. So content just makes it super easy, and then connecting with those the audience, the specific audience, because we cannot serve everyone, whether we want it or not. It's
Right.
impossible, right? And plus, even if you have several photographers, people are going to connect with one, maybe two, because of their personality, because of their styles and things like that. So it's important that we are speaking to our target audience, people that we know that we can help solve their problems or they can benefit from us, and doing it with content that resonates with them.
Yeah. And content creation, content, putting it out there, it can be so tiring though.
Yes.
I
Right.
tell you, for somebody who, like, I remember back in 2000, maybe 13, start. So we're talking, over 10 years ago when I was putting things out on a specific page or texting people, at that time, with content, it was very different, very different. And
Right.
even creating some videos back then, which people weren't doing, you know?
Right.
And I look now and it's like, I'm tired. I'm just tired. So what say you about that?
Well, it's important to also to understand that we all have our gifts, our talents, our lanes, So that's why I'm even in my particular business, even though I help people create content and help them market it, I'm beginning to recognize staying in my lane. I am not a CPA. I understand the numbers a little bit, but for me to crunch the numbers, I don't really need to be doing that. So I think that the sooner we are able to figure out what our lane is, our lane, our zone of genius, the better for us to really make more impact and spend our time more productively. So yes, content can be tiring. And I'm saying this also as a content creator. It is a lot of work, but I have a lot of system. I have a lot of, team that helps make it happen. It's not a one person job. It can be a lot of work. So don't feel bad about that. I'm telling you that it is a lot of work, but we have a system and we have a team behind us doing it together.
And I also think it goes back to knowing your audience. We talked about audience before, who are our customers, who are our clients, and where are they living when they're looking for content?
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. So that way you're not spreading yourself too thin, right? We're not trying to talk to everybody. We're really talking to the particular people that we understand their language, we understand their problems, and we can articulate it to resonate with them. And that way, honestly, when we think of content that way and using content that way, it makes it a lot easier for someone to manage, especially if they're starting out, right? Because to be true, I mean, it's impossible to expect a brand new business owner to like outsource that. I mean, because there's a lot of things that we have to spend money on, like we have to create a website, we have to do this and that, right? So, but simplifying that process for yourself is so important to going a long way. So knowing exactly who, and when I say knowing your audience is really understanding what makes them excited, what are their pain points, what are their goals and aspirations, understanding that and being able to connect with that in a way. And that what that does is also it makes content more effortless. It's not something that you think to do, it's something that you just do. So I'll give you an example. If you know that your audience would resonate with seeing you, say, work on a computer, and then having a conversation with another person on a computer on a Zoom call, kind of like this. Well, you could just turn on the camera on your phone and record that. And maybe even overlay a simple text about that to show the behind the scenes of the work that you're doing so they get a
Mhm.
unique insight. at that point, you're not really trying to like set something up and then think about what to create. Like it just becomes natural because you understand these people so well. You know what they're looking to, hear or see from you, and you understand what they're, understand how to show that to them, like how to communicate that to them. So it just makes it easy. So I often try to tell people, especially those that are starting out, or even if you're in advanced, so like everything that we're doing that we feel like would resonate with our audience is content itself. So if we can just turn on the phone, we can be getting unlimited content, that we can share.
And you know what I found just for my own self-assessment as I'm looking at social media posts, I really gravitate towards people who are just doing just that. They're just doing, right? It's not all polished and whatnot. It's just their everyday life, and this is what they're doing, and they're showing that.
Yes. Yes, and that is true. And that's true for a lot of people, And the truth also because with AI, we can really get some overly polished content.
Mm-hmm.
The reality now is that the authentic content, the less polished ones, are now going to appeal to people because it's human, it resonates, it's authentic, as opposed to the whole polished looking all, fancy and all of the things. So yes.
That's right. Looking all fancy and stuff like that. I
Right.
know early on, I remember, as I said, when I was doing, some videos for social media, and I didn't know how to edit. So I would do a take and then I was like, oh, I'd listen to it. And then I'd do another take instead of like edit, today it's like, oh, just edit this and edit that. And it's so simple. Back then, I didn't have any software. They didn't have all the options that you have today. And it was, I mean, that was really tiring. It's like, oh my Lord. So the things, the tools that we have today, I mean, you can have them at the tip of your finger, but I love what you said about being able to outsource that to somebody who that's their passion. Like that's your passion. You and your team do what you do for a reason, right? The
Yes.
people who are contacting you and saying, take this over for me, there's a reason. And what you said in the beginning where you're not a CPA, I'm not a CPA either. Thank goodness that there are people who are blessed and able to be CPAs.
Yeah, absolutely. I really feel like when that time is right, outsourcing that is the best way to go. So that way we can focus on our zone of genius.
That's right. Focus on the zone of genius, people. Now let's talk about when there's more than one person. So let's just say there's a team. And from your experience, how can teams better collaborate on content so it's not reflecting just one person, but it's definitely reflecting the mission of the organization
Oh, I
or
love
the
this
team?
question. Yes, no, I love this question because that goes from personal branding into like the organization, the brand of the organization. And the best thing that I always suggest to people is to hear from other team members. I
Mm,
mean, there is a lot of gold from hearing from the team members that work with you daily, that understands the in and outs, and just hear that perspective. So it's not just the one person speaking. And there is a lot, and it does so many things. First of all, people are hearing from a different perspective. But
yeah.
secondly, it helps build that trust with the other team members. They feel empowered. They feel a part of the team. They feel like they're part of building something bigger. And so it just,
Love
I
that.
they really love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good because it can't be just about one person. Yeah.
Especially because it takes a village, right? A lot of the things that we do takes, I mean, even for you, I know you have a team that helps with something's behind it. It takes a team. So it's always good to, even if it's in a situation where we are maybe not necessarily employee, but more like a collaboration or subcontractor, sometimes that could also build a stronger relationship within that type of working partnership too. So, there is a lot of value in hearing from different sides of the
Mhm.
coin.
Yeah. And I imagine with content creation too is what's working and what's not working.
Right.
So how would somebody like take a look at that? Like they're posting, their engagement, whether it's higher, like what are they actually looking at to know if something's working?
Well, I would say, what are their goals? So the first thing before we even start working with people are, what are your goals and what are your expectations? Because if you
Mm-hmm.
don't know where you're going, you're not never going to know when you get there. And
Right.
so if your goal is to say increase followership by like 100 people, so when you start posting and engaging, you want to look at that number. There's a lot of reports that all of the social media sites provide to us every month, that you can see the analytics and see how you're growing, who are unsubscribing, who are staying, and you can also even go down to what content are they watching or are they engaging with, and know that this is more of the type of content I need to be creating to
Mm-hmm.
engage more people. So it really starts with, what is your number one goal? If the goal is to get more clients or get more, sell more of your products or your services, then we're going to be shifting and seeing what are the posts that are leading more people to book a consultation or to click the buy now button, those types of things. So it really starts with, what are the goals? So for example, we have a client that we're working with right now. They're a nonprofit organization, and Giving Tuesday is coming up.
Oh,
And so we wanted to make sure that the goal was to raise more money during Giving Tuesday. And so, like you asked the question earlier about when you have a team, well, we created content not only from the executive director's point of view, but other team members. We're also getting content from board members and also contributors, people that are already,
one.
funding them.
Yeah,
And so we're creating content from all of those point of view and
good.
sharing it, and then we're also looking at the analytics at the back end. How is that more beneficial than all the other Giving Tuesdays that they've done in the past, to see the results?
That's good. That's good data. I know for myself when I'm scrolling through social media, whatever platform I happen to be on, hmm, it will, and I have to remember this when I'm thinking of it, like from my client. So it takes me a long time to follow someone, like to hit a button. Like I will watch, I will watch, I will watch. And at some point I may feel moved to, follow, like whatever it is. But for me, it takes a long time. I'm not quite sure why. And I also think that for my customers and clients, they may be doing that with my content too. They may be just watching, watching, watching. They may not be fully invested, even though they like it.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
So, yeah, absolutely. And the truth is that that is real. I mean, I'm the same
Okay, good.
person. So I'm usually, and so sometimes when people say things like, nobody's seeing my post, I'm like, are you sure? Because
Mhm.
usually they're not looking at the analytics.
Yeah.
They just think that because people are not commenting or liking, they are not seeing their posts. So, but there are a lot of people on social media that they just scroll, they enjoy the content, they would even go back, they might even pin or save,
Yeah.
your page and go
Yes.
back to it, but they would never interact, and that's okay. So I think that best way my son, he's like 12 years old, by the way, helped me understand this a while ago was, he said, Mom, if one person comments, that is like one whole person. Like you're able, like, and I was like, because usually we're thinking and we're looking for that grand number, like 2 million subscribers or two, like, when it's like one person, that means you're actually making impact. But the untold story that we don't see is that a ton of people are seeing it. So
Right.
I just want to encourage anyone that might be feeling like, oh, nobody's watching. More than likely people.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then sometimes you get those people where you meet them outdoors or in different events, and they're like, oh yeah, I saw your post, and you're thinking you saw my post, but you didn't actually,
Right, that's right. What do you mean you saw it? Help a girl out.
right?
But does it have, and I think that's a struggle for people to understand that. And I love how, if it's just one, that's an impact, but behind the scenes you're impacting more. Because for me, in the like way back when, it used to be important for me like that somebody likes or there's some type of engagement.
Mhm.
Now it's like it doesn't matter to me. I post when I do. I need to get better at it again. Like when I have a rhythm, things are much better. When I
Mhm.
post ahead of time, I do better. But I think there's another piece there is that we can post, but how are we doing with our engagement follow up?
It's true. That's so true, right? Because it's almost like we post and forget.
Yes,
Especially when you schedule it in
that's a true
advance.
statement. You're on to the next thing.
Right. So we also need to be better at engaging and liking and commenting. I mean, think about it like just the way we were just talking about here, like if the person that saw us out and about actually commented, the way we would feel, right?
Yeah.
That's the same way we're helping others feel because this is not actually uncommon. A lot of people feel the same way. So we can help each other out by, thumbs up, likes, or even just commenting that's a good habit to form.
I also tell people who are just starting their business or just getting onto social media that their opportunity to get their name and their voice out there is really important by doing the commenting and things like that, really bringing your thought leadership or whatever it is that you're called to do into conversations and not just be the scroller.
Yes.
Because every time that you're commenting, your name is popping up. Other people and other networks are seeing it, and that's important as you're
Absolutely.
building.
Actually, that's actually a gold mine that you just opened up here. Like this is like because here's the thing. There are people where the comment section is where they thrive, period. So there's some posts, usually when I go on social media, and I encourage anyone to do this really. When you see a trending topic where there's a ton of people on there, like you can get in there and then comment, obviously, and just, engage. But if you're doing that consistently, you would find that some other people that are reading those comments begin to see your comments
That's right.
all the time, especially when it's impactful, it's relevant, makes it great points, then so like you said, you're building your own thought leadership through that way too, because of just being consistently posting and being in the conversation. So that's a place that I know a lot of people sleep on, but it's a great way to build your brand.
Mm-hmm. Good. Then I'm glad I'm giving good information.
You are. Yes, you are. Because like the comment section sometimes get even more interesting. I mean, there like when I am on Instagram and I follow my favorite people, and once they drop the video, it's like I go directly to the comment section, and that's where you get even more funnier comments, and like it just goes crazy. So there's a lot of opportunities in the comment section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what about, and I've heard this and I don't know if it's true or not, but when a platform adds a new feature and you are able to access that, because sometimes I think people aren't able to access, but if you're able to access, if you access it early, then they'll boost your posts more. Do you know anything about that?
Actually, it makes sense, right? Because there's a huge competition amongst all of this platform. Whether and that's truth. Like they are all vying for our attention. So they're doing a lot of the things to keep people on their platform.
Mm,
So if we tap into what they're doing, they're only going to amplify the post because you're helping them meet their own
that's
goals.
true.
So that's the way I say it. Again, it goes back to that goal, right? So like
Right.
yeah, they need help. They're trying, there's a ton of them. And before we know it, there's a lot, probably other ones that are, popping up as we speak too, right?
Mhm.
So tapping into anything new that they provide or any feature is definitely a great way to take advantage of the platform.
Another question that kind of popped in my head is I know when I post on whether it's Instagram, it can go to Facebook or vice versa.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? Because then it's seen by, some people are on Instagram, some people are on Facebook. Or what are your thoughts? Does it go back to where is your audience, or does it go back to the more times that people see you, the better?
So I like to take advantage of both. So the way I like to think about it is that my audience typically maybe do, and this is for my audience, when they're on LinkedIn, it's usually during the day, when they're at
Yes,
work, you
that's
know,
right. When they're at work,
right. And
scrolling
then when they're on Facebook, it's usually like during the weekends or evenings. And Instagram, I feel like it's somewhere in between. So it just depends on when I'm trying to catch them. So even if I post the same content on all the different platforms, I'm thinking about what frame of mind they will be in when they
LinkedIn.
see this content
Oh,
on
that's
whatever
good.
platform.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good that I completely would take advantage of that posting on Instagram. They see it at one point, maybe during their mid-lunch break or something like that. And then when they have a little bit more time in the evening or and they're watching it, they see it again, right? So
Yes.
advantage of both.
Yeah, that's good. What else might be important to put in here before your last word?
Let's see. I would say a lot of people I hear that they're they feel uncomfortable getting in front of the cameras.
Mhm.
So the shift that we're seeing right now is going from static posts or even photos to videos. A lot of platform app prioritizing video, but video is a little bit more, you know, a little harder because you have to look right, do the makeup if you're a woman, all the things, and the background. Whereas the photo, maybe you can snap and filter and all of the things. But my thing is like, if you can absolutely get on video, and the best way to get over you know the the fear of not wanting to look awkward is to understand that embarrassment is the cost of entry.
Mm,
That's like like the first or two or three 100 posts, whatever it is that we create, it's gonna be cringe, especially when we look at it, in the future. We're like, what
right.
was I thinking? It's kind of like looking back at some of the old photos, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but when I look, I'm like, oh, why did I thought that was cool? Why did I think that was cool? So I think we just need to, get comfortable thinking like that. Like it's gonna suck, or what it's not gonna look up to par,
Mhm.
right? But it's gonna help people. Going back to where we started with, like you are showing up and wanting to use your talents to benefit people. So
Right.
try to spend less time on the looks of it or how polished the look or like the fear of getting on camera. So yeah, that would be my one thing and my encouragement to just whatever we need to do. Like so some of the things that I suggest is having a bullet point of what you want to talk about because half the time I tend to ramble, like, and then by the time I go back to the points, like 20 minutes long. Put up bullet points, and so that helps us stay focused, stay on point. You put your bullet points on your phone if you're using it, and then you go, just go on and on and on, and get it out of the way. So that way you're not worried about how you look or what's
Mhm.
happening. But you're really focused on delivering the value that you came to deliver.
And what's the sweet spot for length?
For length, ooh, that's a good question. I think it depends on the platform. So
Mhm.
we used to see reels be like 1 minute, less than at one point it was less than 30 seconds, and then 1 minute. Now it's 3 minutes and above.
Mm,
So for YouTube, definitely longer than 10 to 20 minutes because the audience on YouTube are coming to learn. They are intentionally typing in how to XYZ. So
oh, yeah.
need the details. So long form is perfect for that. In fact, a lot of us watch YouTube at our home now too. So it's like we're looking for specific content on Instagram and all the other short form platforms, they're a little bit more, it's really more for like entertainment, quick information, give it to me fast type of situation, catch their attention. So in
Mm,
that case, I would say maybe about 3 minutes, but your first 5 seconds should be the most powerful.
mm.
Because if it's not interesting, we
Yeah,
screw,
people move on.
right?
And I imagine that if you're doing long content on YouTube, then there's the opportunity to create from that into the little snippets for the other social media channels.
Absolutely. And if you're not, you should be doing it right now.
Yeah.
Another thing that I would tell you is there's nothing stopping you from sponsoring yourself on YouTube. So a lot of people wait to get to that 1,000 subscribers or so many views before they become monetized. But that, like, there's so many more opportunities to make, more revenue on YouTube by just creating your own content, putting a link to your discovery call, whatever it is, like
Mhm.
your link to your book, whatever it is on there. And in
Right.
fact, one of the things that we help our clients do is we're not looking for a million views. We're looking for the right amount of views from the right people. So when we create the content and we've curated emailing list of their target audience, we send that specific video to those people. So we might not get 2,000 views on YouTube, but we know that the folks that are actually the 20 that watch this are
Yeah.
the that people that we need to watch it. So
Right.
that's another way to, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking of it again. Yeah, changing that mindset for sure. Well, this has been informational. I knew it was going to be, Victoria. I would love to give you the last word. What say you to those who are tuning in?
Oh my goodness. So I would say try everything you can to, I was going to say get rid of the fear, but just do it. And the repetition would help you get rid of the fear. You see what I mean? Like do it scared. Get in front of the camera, and yes, you will be shaking, or you would like not use the right words or say stuff. Yeah, just do it, because the first, the second, the 10th, or the 15th time is not going to be perfect.
Right.
In so doing, you're building the reps, you're getting better. And the other
Mm,
cool thing is that the quicker you start doing this, the quicker you get to learn what's working and what's not working, and the quicker you're able to pivot. And that in itself is probably the most beneficial reason for starting, because the more you do it, the more you learn what's working, the more you can quickly pivot rather than waiting to start.
wow. That's good stuff. And where can people find you, Victoria, if they're interested in learning more about what you do and how you can help them?
We are active on all the major social media at Lim Studios, which is the name of my business. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then on YouTube is also Lim Studios TV, actually. So yeah. If you type in Victoria Odekomaya or Victoria Boss Lady or Victoria Boss Ladies,
You're going to pop up. It is not a common name, I don't think, in the
right.
US, is it?
That is one of the advantage, and that's the reason why I'm leaning into it too for my personal brand.
That's good. Well, I appreciate you so much. You are doing great things, and I appreciate you coming on and really sharing the way you did, very openly about some of the areas that can help us who are part of social media and really providing content for people to learn and grow. So I appreciate you. And until next time, you keep doing great things, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.